Hello and welcome back to Book Yaps with Ash. I'm Ash and welcome to another reading vlog. Today we are going to be reading a bit of a different book than I have been doing for these. Normally I go with something fun, a little weird, but today I'm going to be reading The World According to Garp. Now I know nothing about this book, but I can assume it's not necessarily fun and a little weird, but that's okay. That's okay. So why am I reading this book? Because in my book club, my frenemy, Bill, are we friends or are we enemies? It's hard to say. He's always trying to ban me. Anyways, he asked if I take requests. I said, sure. He said, can you read The World According to Garp? I said, sure. So that's all I know about the book is that Bill likes it. I pretty much know nothing else about it. And so we're going to read it. But this reading vlog is also going to be part challenge, I guess. I am recovering from surgery still. I'm off work and not really supposed to do anything, which can get boring. I mean, it's nice to read, but sometimes I just fall asleep. Anyways, I'm gonna see how much of this fatty I can read in one day. While I read a lot, I read more consistently. I read every day. I don't necessarily, I'm not good at reading for long periods of time. I either fall asleep or I get bored, or we'll see how this goes. This book is like 526. So I feel like a book at this length would normally take me like 12 hours total, probably, to read. I don't think I'm going to be spending 12 hours total today reading this, but we'll see how far I get. Yeah, it's like almost 9:30. I'm going to do maybe like a half an hour block of reading, have my coffee, and then take a break. So let's get it started. I'm skipping the introduction because sometimes these give away what happens in the story, and they're for people who've read it and are reading it 40 years later. That's not me, so I'm gonna skip that part. So we're following Jenny Fields right now. She's part of a family that owns a shoe factory and was kind of expected to go to college just to marry, not even to work in the factory or take it over because she's a woman, I assume. But she went into nursing instead. But every time she went home, her family tried to give her shoes and stuff that she didn't want. But there's a line here. She felt detached from her family and thought it strange how they had lavished so much attention on her as a child, and then at some appointed, prearranged time, they seemed to stop the flow of affection and begin the expectations, as if for a brief phase, you were expected to absorb love and get enough, and then, for a much longer and more serious phase, you were expected to fulfill certain obligations. Book. Another line on the same page. She felt if she ever had children, she'd love them no less when they were 20 than when they were 2. They might need you more at 20, she thought. What do you really need when you're 2? In the hospital, the babies were the easiest patients. The older they got, the more they needed, and the less anyone wanted to or loved them. Bill, am I reading a book that's gonna make me cry? So the book starts by saying that Jenny got in trouble for wounding a soldier at the movie theater. Then you get a little bit of backstory about her for a few pages. And then you go back to the movie theater to see what she actually did. And this guy kept following her seat to seat to seat. And she didn't want him to sit with her, obviously, gross. And so she took a scalpel out of her purse and just sliced right through his skin. To the bone. She said, if I wanted to kill him, I'd have slit his wrist. I'm a nurse. I know how people bleed. I like Jenny. I think we're gonna like Jenny. Okay, my 30 minutes are up. I've only read 17 pages, so that's not a very good average, but I'm gonna blame some of the yapping I've been doing with you as being a bit distracting. I think what this book is about is Jenny has an autobiography written about her. She writes some of it, and her son, I think, Garp, writes some of it, so I'm not sure what the reason for that is, but we will find out. And the title is A Sexual Suspect, and essentially it's just about her being like deviant, I guess, sexually, but not really. Like, people just think she is, and it's because she wants nothing to do with men, but she wants to have a baby. And so when people find that out, they start being really fucking weird. Like, one guy hands her a cup of semen and is like, just so you know, I can produce, or whatever. But yeah, it seems like the autobiography is probably going to be exaggerated, because she said she discovered that you got more respect from shocking other people than you got from trying to live your own life with a little privacy. So yeah, now we're just learning about Sergeant Garp, who I'm going to assume is the man who will help her have her baby. And that's where we're at. But I'm going to go and get a little something to eat. Then we'll get back to it. Okay, so I finished chapter 1 upstairs, and is this the part you wanted me to react to, Bill? Because, what? Something crazy. Okay, this is what happened. Garp, the soldier, he got injured, okay? And it was like a brain injury. And they found him just, like, laying there masturbating in a ship crash, or whatever. And all he would say is Garp, because someone called him Garp, and that's the only word he would say. So when he goes to the hospital, he doesn't say anything but Garp. And then he starts, like, aging backwards, essentially, like acting like a baby because of his brain damage. And again, he'll just still get erections, but his hands are burnt, so he can't do anything about them. And so, I can't believe you're making me talk about this on camera. And so Jenny eventually starts helping him with those, and then decides, this is gonna give me my baby. So she gets on top of him. You know how that works. And she only does it once. And then she gets pregnant with a baby. And then Garp dies. So, obviously, that's assault. Let's just tell her what it is. And then she says, the rest of the world finds this an immoral act. Only shows me that the rest of the world doesn't respect the rights of an individual. So I'm not sure. Is she talking about Garp because he had a hard-on? She's talking about her? I don't know. However, I'm gonna keep going with this. That was weird. That was something. But, you know, I support women's rights. I support women's wrongs. She's fictional. So, we're gonna keep going. But that was sure something. So, thanks, Bill. I'm gonna do a big sprint of reading through this without yapping to you. So, we'll see you in a bit. Jesus Christ. Okay, I just finished like a 45-minute reading session of chapter 2. Kind of lost track of time reading it, which is good. It means I am enjoying the book. So what happened in chapter 2, you ask? So Jenny works at a university hospital infirmary area called, the university is called Steering, or college, whatever you call it in the States. And she lives there with Garp. Because she lives there, she gets to attend classes for free, so she pretty much attends like all of the classes, ends up buying tons and tons of books. However, no one tells her that she's supposed to get a discount on the books, which is a little unfair, so she's pretty pissed about that. But anyway, she starts collecting all these books to the point where if the library doesn't have it, or the bookstore doesn't have it, they send people to the infirmary to like borrow from her. But anyway, she's taking all these classes to essentially figure out which ones are good for when Garp attends the college. Also during this time, Garp kind of likes to hang out with some of the patients that she takes care of, and one of them complains about the pigeons like being loud and annoying or whatever, and he's got 2 casts on, so he can't even move. And there's a day where Jenny can't find Garp. He's not coming home, and she finds him up on the roof with this guy's lacrosse stick and trying to catch the pigeons, but he has fallen through the eaves trough and his leg is stuck. Also, he's only 5 here, so that happens. And then there's another family that lives there called the Percys, I believe. And, Garp starts hanging out with the kids, but they have this big Newfoundlander dog who's not well trained and who will bite. He bites a kid's arm one day. They're like, oh, whatever, he's fine, didn't mean him. And then another day, they're playing football, and the dog tackles Garp and bites his whole ear off. And from that moment on, the Percys are Jenny's enemy. She offers to help them put him down because he's a biter. They're like, no, he's a dog, he should run free. Hi. Oh my gosh. You mean that? And there's a line here about... I'm talking. Ow. There's a line here about, Haven, I'm talking to my friends. Alright. Anyways, there's a line about... So Jenny in her autobiography wrote, that dog was a killer, protected by one of the many thin and senseless bits of logic that the upper classes in America are famous for. Namely, that the children and pets of the aristocracy... Is that how you say it? Don't sleep there. No, I'm reading that part. Don't even... Okay, couldn't possibly be too free or hurt anybody. That other people should not overpopulate the world or be allowed to release their dogs, but that the dogs and children of rich people have the right to run free. Good line. So yeah, those are kind of the main things that happened in that chapter, and I'm looking forward to continuing the book. Definitely, there's no way I'm reading this whole book today. Just gonna let you know that now. I'm only on page 58 or something, and I'm gonna take a break for a little bit, do something else, come back to it, but I am enjoying it. So thank you, Bill, for the recommendation, and I will update you later. Hello, Ferris and I are back for more Garp. My book has been freed from Haven's laying, and I've got some ice for my wound, and I'm ready to get into another chapter. So let's do it, shall we? Hi, what I said earlier about it being a college was false, incorrect, big lie. I don't know if I didn't catch it or if it hadn't really been mentioned yet, but it's more of like a high school, because Garp is going there and he's 15. So that's high school. And it was created to prepare young boys for higher education. So it's high school, not college. I know it's not important, but I just want to let you know that I was wrong. You're going to be shocked to find out I am falling asleep. But I'm on page 76. I've just finished chapter 3. Let me tell you about it. So, like I said earlier, Jenny went to all the classes at this school so she could figure out which ones Garp should take. And in doing so, she forgot or just didn't bother to look into the extracurriculars like sports. But Garp wants to have something to do in the evenings and the afternoons, so he wants to join a sports team. But he doesn't know which one, and he doesn't know how to pick for himself, I guess, because he's big mummy's boy. And his mummy's making all of his choices for him, so. Anyways, he's also sick, so she goes out to the gym to try and, pick a sport for him. And she ends up in the wrestling studio? Let's call it that. And in the wrestling studio, there is a man named Ernie and his daughter Helen, and Ernie is the coach. He, not very bright, this guy. He's new at Sterling. No, it's not Sterling, it's Steering, isn't it? It's Steering. Anyways, he's new there. He went there because his wife, she was a nurse. Then she had Helen, ended up being a stay-at-home mom, but really wanted to be a nurse again, so she left them. And so he was just trying to get Helen into a good school, and he knew that if you worked at the school, your kid could go there for free. However, he didn't look into the fact that it's an all-boys school, so Helen couldn't go there. She actually had to go to public school, which was not great. Anyways, so Helen, she hangs out in the wrestling room with Ernie while he does his wrestling coaching. Ernie also told Helen, like, one day you might interact with a nurse and she might be your mom. So Jenny strolls in her nursing uniform, and Helen thinks that it's her mom and runs up to her and hugs her and goes, "Mom, it's me, Helen." Jenny's like, "It's not my daughter." Awkward, man. Anyways, she signs, what's his face? Garp. She signs Garp up for wrestling. Yeah, and then Garp does wrestling in the winter and also talks to Helen here and there, and I do believe that they're crushing on each other, and this is when he decides he wants to be a writer. So that's where we're at. I think I'm gonna go have some lunch now, because like I said, I'm falling asleep. And I'm debating switching to the audiobook for a bit. Yeah, I might do that. Okay. Hey, guess what? I got distracted watching an Ed Sheeran concert on YouTube. So I'm back now. It's 3 o'clock, and before I got distracted, I was listening to Chapter 4, The Graduation, on audiobook. So I'm gonna go back to doing that while I play Animal Crossing. What do I want to tell you about that chapter? You got his first blowy. Garp did. Congrats, Garp, on your first blowy. And he's writing, and I like him. He can't lie. He's not a good liar. I feel like hi Ferris, relate to that in a way. And I believe he is looking into going to Europe for college to learn to write better. And I think Austria? Something that starts with an A. They're talking about going there, and that's where I'm at. Hello, I finished chapter 5 now, and the chapter ends with Garp getting into it with the dog again from when he was like 5. The dog's name is Bonkers, by the way. And yeah, they get into a scuffle because this dog is got problems, not trained well, also deaf and going blind, given that he's 14 now. But anyways, they get into a scuffle, and what does Garp do? Bites off the dog's ear. Yeah, gets his revenge. And now listen, I like dogs, okay? I've got a couple of my own, but I think this is funny. In this scenario only. If one of you tries to bite off one of my dog's ear, I will kill you. Okay, hello. I am about halfway through chapter 5, which is page 117. So it's 4 o'clock. I won't be finishing the book today. We all knew that from the start, right? Did anyone think I was going to be finishing the book today? No, but I mean 117 pages, especially doing some on audio, which is notoriously slower because I don't listen on 3 times speed. At this point, they are in Austria. It is Austria, by the way. In Vienna, there's no college. I don't know where I got college from, but they are both trying to write, Garp and Jenny, and not having a lot of success. And Jenny is trying to understand lust because she learned through Garp that he has lust for what is her name? It's a weird name. One of the Percy kids, Cushy. And Jenny just doesn't understand it. She's never lusted for anyone in her life, so she's trying to learn about it. And her way of learning about it is they interact with some prostitutes in Vienna, and she pays them to talk and answer her questions, which don't really help. But Garp is very interested in one of them named Charlotte, and he continues to see her. And that's kind of where we're at. He's trying to write his story, and she's trying to write hers, and that's where we're at. I'll probably keep reading more today, but this will be the last time I update you, so we'll see you probably tomorrow. No, because what is actually so on brand for me is to start this video and go, oh, I'm gonna see if I can read this whole book in one day. Let's see how much I can read. I'm gonna try and read the whole book, and then reading 20%. That I've done that more times than I'd like to admit. Not on camera, just with books. Needless to say, I did not read the whole book yesterday. Didn't even read half the book, but we're back today to read more of it. I'm not gonna go so far to say I'm finishing it, because we all know that's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna read more of it because I'm enjoying it. Sorry I didn't dress up for you in my pajamas, but I can only wear pants that are loose because of my surgical incision. However, look at this sweater. My good friend Ed Sheeran sent me this sweater for free. That's right. And that just goes to show that if you fandom hard enough, you too can get free stuff if the person you're a fan of is cool. Anyways. Okay, so what we have for the rest of chapter 5 is essentially a book within a book, which is what Garp has been writing. And he's writing about this family that travels together and rates places to stay called pensions. So I think like hotels, motels, and they go to these places based off things they hear. So they go to one that they heard someone spotted a bear, and then like weird stuff starts to happen. And it was like good. Not always a fan of the like book it inside a book thing. Sometimes my brain wants to tune out the inner book, but I thought this was a good little story. But it doesn't end because Garp doesn't know how to end it, but he just kind of feels like he needs more life experience to be able to write better. And that's where the chapter ends. So I looked up like the book that Garp is writing, The Pension Grill Parser, and it turns out it's an actual book on Goodreads, at least. I don't know if it's published, but it's like a short story with an interesting description. I've read the conclusion and it was okay. It was like a fine short story. I'm wondering if it gets better or if we're just supposed to believe that it's great. However, I only know that it's great because I looked it up. So maybe I should just keep my eyes off Google and on the book instead. Whoops. So Jenny has had her book published now. Garp has not, and her book has become, and she has become, kind of like the face of the women's movement and feminism. And she didn't like intend for this to happen. Like, she just wanted to tell her story. She knew that she was living a life that wasn't typical, but never saw that as like political or her writing as political, but that's kind of what it's become. And through this book being popular, Garp has now become quite famous, given that he's like a main character in the autobiography. And he's not loving that. He is trying to write on his own. He's married to Helen now, and they have a kid. Helen goes to school, and he stays home, writes, and takes care of the kid. It's the kid's name, Duncan, I think. And there's a day where like one of the reporters finds out that he is like their gender roles have swapped. They find that really interesting because it's like another point towards feminism. And in one way that's great, but in another way Garp kind of says like, you know, I'm just doing what I want to do. Don't call by any other name. I'm just doing what I want to do, and that's all my mother ever did too. She just what she wanted to do. And I think that that's an interesting and good take, because I think a lot of things, decisions and ways people live their lives, can be seen as political or deviant or a challenge against the norm, and it's just what people want to do. It's not any sort of statement, it's just that. So yeah, I like that. And once again, my book has been commandeered. Do you have anything you want to say about that? It's a good take. I've just finished chapter 7. Without going into too much detail, Garp has seen some shit, and he's done some shit. Not necessarily good things, but he knows that the not good things are not good. The chapter itself is called More Lust, so you can kind of guess maybe what some of the things that were done were. And if you can't, then that's okay. I'm not going to be talking about them too much. But the chapter ends with Helen being pregnant again and Garp hoping that it is not a girl because of the things that he has seen, the things that his mom has gone through, the things that he has done to women, and the person that he is. So he's really struggling with that idea, and that he's contributing to the world not being the best place for girls and women. So the next chapter is called Second Children, Second Novel, Second Love. So that's interesting. I'm on page 182. I'm reading quite a bit today. Not done the book, not halfway done the book. And you know what I'll say is that, me going, I'm gonna read the whole book in one day, blah blah blah, I'm gonna read the whole book in 2 days. I think maybe this is good representation for normal pacing of reading, because I feel like you go on YouTube or the internet and people are doing these reading vlogs where they're reading the whole book in one sitting, or readathons where they're reading 5 books in 24 hours, or they're just full-time content creators, so they're reading a lot of books really quickly, and you feel like you gotta keep up if you want to be a reader. This is what readers do, and I would consider myself a reader. I read a lot of books, and I read consistently, but I can't read fast. And so this is your reminder, I guess. This is your PSA that just because you don't read fast, or 5 books in a day, or 1 book in a day, it doesn't mean you're not a reader. That's merch. I'm just kidding. I don't have merch. Okay, that chapter was weird. So we had Garp and Helen made some new friends. They're a married couple. Highhaven, the wife, Alice, found out her husband Harrison was cheating on her with one of his students. She tells Garp. Garp tells Helen. Their solution is to make Harrison get over the student by sleeping with Helen, and then Garp sleeps with Alice. And then Alice falls in love with Garp. Garp falls in love with Alice. Harrison falls in love with Helen. Helen isn't interested in banging Harrison. She just wants him to be her friend. So then they call it off, and then they don't really stay friends, from what it seems. And then Garp writes a book about 2 married couples who have affairs with each other, and claims that it's not autofiction. And also each person in that story has a weird thing going on. One's blind, one can't stop farting, one has weird twitches. It was weird. It was a weird chapter. And then the chapter ends with a back and forth of letters between Garp and someone who hates his book, of this person being just your book's really bad, blah blah blah, and then him being like, you don't know how to read. So I don't really like Garp as a character. I don't think you're supposed to like Garp. I did originally when he was a kid. I don't like him now. Maybe he'll redeem himself. I'm not even halfway through. I like Helen, and I like Jenny. I feel like I'm not getting enough Jenny right now, obviously because her and Garp aren't living together anymore. This is Garp's world, but I would like more Jenny, and I would like more Helen. But I'm gonna take a break now from the book, do something else. Feeling kind of sleepy. So this might be the end of today's part of this video. And you know what? This video might be getting a bit long. So if that's the case, this is where I'll end part 1, because I'm almost halfway through. And if I'm splitting into 2 parts, this is a good place to end it. So if you're hearing me talk right now, this is the end of part 1, and we'll see you for part 2.